your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back for another episode 43. And we've got a lot to get to. There's been a lot of breaking news, so we better get things going because, again, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callahan, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Volt, Shield. What's going on, Shield?
Dude, there has been a lot of stuff going down the last couple of minutes. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. It feels like it should be midnight with how dark it's getting earlier each and every day. All I know is we've got the show tonight, and we've got a lot that we need to unpack here. And just in the last few minutes alone, we should probably just go ahead and get on with it here tonight. But I'm super excited for tonight.
Exactly. But, before we really get into it, Voldy, we do have a guest for Tater Tot Hot Take. Guess who is back? It is Mikey Ryan. Mikey, welcome back. Let's go.
Thanks for having me. It's a pretty quick return this time.
It is. It really is. It's a really quick return. But we're back, all three of us. We got to go into some Tater Tot Hot Take. But we got to get to some, breaking news, first with everything that's been going on. So let's get it rolling with some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, now we're back with some Tater Tot Hot Take. Before we get to our Vikings talk, because, we all want to get to that. Breaking news from Seymour. Minnesota high school star Jalen Suggs just went down for Gonzaga with an Achilles injury. And he's in a significant amount of pain, and it's not good because he was one of the top guy in Minnesota as a big prospect. So what are your guys' thoughts about this so far? What do you think, Voldy?
Well, I don't know. That's a tough one. Obviously the fact that Gonzaga was going to be, one of the teams there at the top. I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to look at the college basketball scene, nor do I want to begin with. But obviously that's going to hurt Gonzaga, especially with a player like Suggs coming in, into a true freshman year. And if he was going to try and contribute this year, obviously an injury like this is definitely going to set him back.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, is noteworthy. Hopefully Jalen Suggs is okay. And, I guess we'll have to see via the socials medias. And then, Voldy, I believe you had some breaking news as well. You just got on your phone. What do you have for us?
Yeah, actually I had a little bit of a heads up as well with my new smartwatch that I got on Black Friday. But it's looking like, as according to reports, the Houston Rockets are trading Russell Westbrook to the Washington Wizards for John Wall and a first-round pick.
And a first-round pick.
That is just all what? It's completely out of left field, man.
It is.
It is crazy.
It's crazy because Russ, Harden wanted out. Russ, I think, wanted out as well. So this is big news. And especially having John Wall go to not to the Wizards, but to the Rockets and a first-round pick, which is crazy in itself. So, wow, just right before the show, we have all this news coming in. Very, very interesting. And then Bradley Beal feels like this was a lateral move for the Wizards, which, I believe, Bradley Beal's been kind of up in the air with a lot of these things, too, with the Wizards and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, let's get to the task at hand, gentlemen. Yes, and that is, the lower third says, and I'm going to quote myself here because this is a former Sports Zone thing,
Oh, baby!
It says, oh, baby, but it's really O-B-B with Chad Beebe coming through for the Vikings. So we have to ask our expert, Mikey Ryan, what he thinks about, the game. What did you think about the game, Mikey? What are your thoughts? And, they better be Jacksonville on Sunday, right?
Yeah, seriously. If we don't, it's gonna be rough. But I think we played a good fourth quarter.
Yes. Yeah.
The other three we played all right. We obviously the two fumbles back to back. You cannot have that. That was absolutely atrocious, and we should have lost the game there. And then we also had the BB fumble, which I was just devastated at that point. I turned the game off. But then I'm like, all right, we'll turn the game back on, and they only got a field goal. And then BB, comes back. He kind of redeems himself, but again, you already called the fair catch on that punt. You should catch it. So my thoughts is, I'm glad it's a Vikings win. I'm never gonna complain about a Vikings win.
No,
but we should not have won that game.
Right.
We should not have.
Yeah, we really shouldn't have won that game. Obviously we had a little hiccup there with our Skype feed, but I believe you're finishing up your thought, Mikey. But, basically, another thing, too, is that third quarter, that start of that third quarter was awful. And, Voldy, we were just talking before the show. You fumble the first drive, give them a touchdown to this Jeremy Chin, this rookie, who's quite good, by the way. And then after that, you fumble again, and he takes it to the house. What the hell happened, Voldy?
It's just crazy. Yeah, that Chin guy is a strong candidate, if not already securing Defensive Rookie of the Year for Carolina. But, yeah, when you start off the second half and you give up 2 fumble recovery for touchdowns, not just of the same team, but obviously the same guy, it was not looking good for the Vikings. And this time it wasn't even Kirk's fault. Overall, it wasn't even his fault. Obviously, the first one where he was, I don't know, it looked like at first he was trying to get rid of it, but then it just, you watch in slow motion now, the ball just popped right out and Chin took it back for a touchdown. But, obviously the second half was a crazy. A lot of different opportunities, a lot of different scores, but ultimately, when it came down to it, the defense was able to get off the field and hold Carolina to a field goal on that last drive because they had it set up. All they had to do was punch it in, game's over, that's all she wrote. But the Vikes defense came through, surprisingly came through. They made plays when they had to in the second half, were able to give the offense an opportunity and at least get the chance for Kirk to go down the length of field, and he did it. Chad Beebe gets that opportunity as well to redeem himself, and not bad for your first NFL touchdown too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly, and it's going to the end of the game, and this is crazy too because I was listening to the game, and Pete Bursich was saying, how about before the Vikings took the field to go and get the go-ahead touchdown, he said, how about Chad Beebe getting the touchdown after that, awful play? And guess what happens? Chad Beebe scores his first NFL touchdown with that. And people are saying, Mikey, miss you, bud, from Jack Vickers as well. And it's been a while. But but getting back to it, Chad Beebe, he got down on himself, but there were guys that were there to say, hey, man, you can pick yourself up. We still have some time to win this game. But honestly, Matt Rule, what the hell are you doing? You had your chance and you blew it. Man. Matt Rule, that is such a rookie coach move by not running the ball. And have the audacity to throw. It was stupid, but hey, I'm not going to complain about it. That's for sure. But But Matt Rule, just like, it's like, well, we want to, put the nail in the coffin. Well, you didn't put the nail in the coffin. You jumbled it all up. And that's, I think, it gave the Vikings an opportunity to get back in the game. And another thing I want to bring up, too, with everything that went kind of bad in the third quarter, I just want to bring up some stats to you. They nearly saw their playoff chances almost evaporate in 69 seconds. Think about that. Think about that. 69 seconds. You're up a field goal at halftime. You're feeling good. Like, oh, okay. It wasn't the greatest first half, but they went into this, not too bad. But that third quarter, it was all Panthers. The whole defense pretty much took it. They just took it, and they took advantage of it. And actually, you know what? I shouldn't say the Panthers defense. Jeremy Chin went in and just took
he did.
The team on his shoulders, and it was crazy on how well he did. So, but I got to ask you another thing here, Mikey, too. Let's get to the zoners. Do the Vikes know it's okay to win more games by more than a couple points? These games aren't good for my nerves. Laura, I've been saying that to myself for years. Voldy's been saying that. Mikey's been saying. We can never have a game where it's like, oh, we're crushing them. No worries, It's never like that. Here we go. He's just trying to make sure the Panthers get a higher draft pick. Example,
the old Adam Gase method. I love it.
Yeah, Adam Gase is going to be fired, but that's just me. But anyway, does that surprise you coming from a Big 12 coach throwing the ball and not playing defense at the end? That's true. Baylor did throw the ball around a lot. Metz isn't that far off on it. But anyway, obviously we had Teddy B in town, and Teddy did a pretty good job. But also, I think we exploited his weaknesses, and Teddy on his downfield passing was not good. It wasn't great, but we love Teddy, and I've always loved Teddy ever since he was drafted by the Vikings and whatnot. So, Mikey, what were your thoughts on Teddy Bridgewater this game?
I thought he played well. He did struggle, and that could have just been the product of Mike Zimmer, had been his coach for 3-4 years. So it's like you already know all of his weaknesses. You can just exploit him at that point. But no, I was glad that he played decent. I'm glad he didn't play too well because we did win in the end. No, he played well. The short, medium passes he was good at, but we all know that that's his repertoire, and he always kind of struggled downfield throwing the ball. He'll get there, I think, with more time. He did lose a lot of progress with the injury, unfortunately. Yeah. But I would think maybe like in the next year or so, once he gets comfortable in the offense, and if it doesn't turn over like crazy, I think he should still improve.
I think so too. I thought he did a great job, but also I think Matt Rule is kind of still looking for his guy. Is it PJ Walker?
Yeah.
PJ Walker's still, you never know with him. But not just saying it. I think he's looking for his guy. But you have to respect Teddy and the amount of work that he has put in to get back in the NFL and to be doing what he's doing. We thought he all was done. We all thought he was done after that injury and whatnot. But Teddy is a guy that is going to work his butt off. He's going to, do anything he can. And obviously without McCaffrey, I think that kind of hurt too for Carolina. But when you have a chance to put the nail in the coffin, Teddy really didn't do that. But I will say one thing, though. Teddy had an opportunity. They had, 45 seconds or something like that, guys? And he went down the field and got him in field goal position. That's all you can ask from Teddy. But again, Teddy's on the wrong end of the game where he's losing because a kicker misses a field goal. Blair Walsh. But again, this was a game that definitely they didn't deserve to win. But hey, you know what? I've been saying it. A win's a win. Voldy, I want to ask you this. Kirk Cousins goes down there. He goes down the field, gets the touchdown to BB. I think people need to watch that whole sequence of how well he did and how well Justin Jefferson did. Chad Beebe, they stepped up at the right time. So what are your thoughts on Kirk Cousins in that last drive there, Voldy?
When I want to take it back actually a
Sure.
little bit. At first, when the Vikings did sign Kirk Cousins, I thought, what are they doing? What is this atrociousness that is happening right now? Now at this point of the season, 3 years later, Kirk Cousins has my trust.
Ooh.
Go down and get the job done. I want to be the first one to admit I want Case Keenum back in purple as much as, myself and probably myself only. I know that's not going to happen because I'm an idiot. I still hold out for stuff like that. No, it's not going to be happening probably ever again. But Kirk Cousins, now at this point, to me, he has proven himself worthy to get my trust to take the Vikings down the field because he's done it plenty of times. And this was just another case in point as well. Pardon the pun, case in point. little trickery on that. But I look at that drive as well. Everybody got involved. Chad Beebe gets the touchdown. Justin Jefferson, even the likes of, of course, Dalvin in there in the mix, Alexander Madison. Kyle Rudolph saw more action as well, and he was a big step up. I think this was probably, if not the most catches he's had all year, at least this game alone, it's probably, the most production he's seen all year. And I had to move some guys on my fantasy team this past week. Julio Jones goes out. I got to put somebody in my flex. Who's the only guy I got left? I got Kyle Rudolph. And I'm like, well, here comes 2 points. But he ended up performing pretty well, especially the fact Irv Smith Jr. also out for this game too, seeing a lot more production as long as they can get that, that connection back together as well. Get Kyle Rudolph more involved in the offense. That opens up for the likes of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen as well, now that he's off the COVID list and to be activated here for this Sunday. But this drive overall is just solidifying the point that Kirk Cousins is locked in, and especially going to the fact that, obviously the fact that it's still a little trouble with the turnover department, but this is just another opportunity for him.
Yeah, and another thing.
Bucks in the second half of the year.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, definitely. Skype keep giving us the cutouts. Frustrating. But yeah, Voldy, we definitely hear you there. One other thing, BC Johnson. How about BC Johnson, guys? I mean, he finally stepped up, which we needed big time. He had a career high, 7 catches, 74 yards. So BC Johnson, Rudy at 68, like Voldy was talking about, and Chad Beebe, obviously. So things are looking good. Thielen's activated off the COVID list, which is great news. And the thing is the big question was, and Mikey, I want to ask you this. Who would step up in Thielen's absence? Obviously, the first person comes to mind is Justin Jefferson. And he did. He absolutely did. He keeps telling people, I want to play like a veteran. And he has. So, Mikey, I mean, he stepped up at the right moment. What do you think?
Yeah, he's been playing fantastic. He's been playing like a number one receiver. You put him on like 70, 80% of the teams in the league, he's the number one receiver right now. No doubt in my mind. He is playing lights out. And with Adam Thielen gone, everyone was going to be targeting Justin Jefferson. There's no doubt in what their game plan was going to be. It was going to be to stop Dalvin Cook and to stop Justin Jefferson and make Kirk Cousins throw around. Kirk Cousins did throw around. I thought he played really good. And to Voldy's credit, I think he earned all of our trust with going down that field and scoring that touchdown right at the end. But Justin Jefferson just continues to improve and continues to impress. He's the offensive rookie of the year. I'm calling it right today, December 2nd. He's the offensive rookie of the year. You can clip this and show it to me when he doesn't get it. But for me, he is the offensive rookie of the year. He's just playing that well.
Well, I think, obviously our season 2 is coming up for MinneZona Sports Live. So we have the audio, we have the recap. So, Mikey, we appreciate your quote there. So we're going to hold you to that. But there are some people that believe that Kirk Cousins, it's going to lead to disappointment and sadness, as Seymour's saying right here, and whatnot. Looks like Seymour's kind of saying, Mikey, clean up that top of your dresser in the background a little, LOL. Hey, man. I mean, that's just me, and Seymour, I think, is trying to get us going a little bit today. But
a little bit.
It's fine. It's fine. Seymour likes to do that. But, I mean, you have to place trust in a guy with him right now. Because, remember, fans wanted Kirk benched at one point. And in for not only... they wanted Sean Mannion in there. How the hell are you going to trust Sean freaking Mannion? Okay? And Dalvin can only do so much, right? I mean, for one, I think the Vikings a little bit, and I will say this, they're missing Ezra Cleveland a little bit. Brett Jones has done okay. I mean, he's not bad, but Ezra Cleveland gave Dalvin Cook, open lanes, on the screens and things like that against Green Bay. But I will say that having Ezra Cleveland out has hurt a little bit. But the O-line has played actually really well. And I have to give credit to Riley Reif. Brian O'Neill's been great. And, the interior, Garrett Bradbury, I feel like Garrett Bradbury has been a Pro Bowl center. I really feel that. But... And, as the Curve Doctor likes to say, O-line, 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 O-line. And you can never have enough good O-line, for one. So, all right, so we got to look forward to the Jaguars, okay? This is a game the Vikings cannot lose, gentlemen. Voldy, let me ask you this, okay? With Thielen coming back, Jefferson, everything looks really good, but we've been down this... We've been down this road before, right?
Yes, we have.
With the Falcons. And we took them for granted. We got our asses kicked. We not too long ago against the Bills, we go against them. They kicked our butt. So, Voldy, how do they prevent this from being a total disaster on Sunday?
You just pick up right where you left off. You play fast. You play loose. You shove it down their throat, and you don't get off the gas pedal until you run out of gas in that tank. You just keep going. If you got to put up 75 points against them, you got to prove a point because there is no around with the Jaguars this time around. You can't go down this road. Did it against Dallas. Did it against Atlanta this year as well. You take those two games away, the Vikings are over 500 and sniffing quite possibly at least for sure wild card spot. Now they're playing from behind here and have to make it up as they go. But you just got to go right away, and you got to go really, really quick on this team, and you can't take anything for granted against Jacksonville.
And I think Zim knows this. I feel like Zim knows this.
Yes.
The coaching staff knows this. This can't happen again. Because if it does, they're not going to the playoffs. I'm saying this right now. If they lose to the Jaguars on Sunday, they're not going to the playoffs. I'm saying that right now. Unless something freakish
1-10. Come on.
Yeah. They're out of the playoffs, too. They have nothing to lose as well. So I just
fired their GM.
Right.
So they're already playing for next year.
Yeah.
Right. Before I throw this to you, Mikey, I want to get to see more because I want to see what he says. He's always got something to say here. The Vikings want to win against the Jaguars. Just tell them that Justin Fields isn't going to be available at the 3 pick in the NFL draft, and they'll gladly give you a win.
Done.
But, Mikey, so I'm going to throw the question to you. How do they avoid a huge disaster against Jacksonville?
You just can't play conservative. Like Boldy said, you just got to put the foot on the throat and just crush. It's all you have to do. You have to just absolutely murder the team. You cannot play conservative. You have to even if you just don't throw your trick plays out or your mystery plays that you want to keep for when you need to, but you have to be aggressive. You have to blitz. Mike Zimmer's defense, you just have to be aggressive there, and then the offense just block well and run with Dalvin Cook, and then Kirk Cousins throw the ball to Thielen, let him get warmed up again, and just play aggressive. That's the only way we're going to be able to win. Well, we should be able to win irregardless, but to avoid disaster, we have to play aggressive.
Well, for one thing, I feel like Adam Thielen's already warmed up because after the video that we shared on MinneZona Sports Live, Adam Thielen being pumped up after that win. And honestly, he he echoes, or he is impersonating every Vikings fan that watches a Vikings game, because I'm like that almost all the time when I'm watching a Vikings game. What's the flag for? What's the flag for? But Adam Thielen's gonna be just fine, like you said, Mikey, and whatnot. So you mentioned one thing too. Let Dalvin cook. Run the ball down their throat and let Dalvin cook, right? And he will do that. Dalvin will cook. Now, the question is what happens if they stop the run? Well, then you got the play action. You got Thielen. You got Jefferson. Offensively, they'll be fine. Defensively, little concern. James Robinson is he's no slouch. He's been a very good running back for Jacksonville. But honestly, Jacksonville doesn't have anybody else, right? DJ Shark is good. I like DJ Shark. He's it's fun. But again, it's the Jags. You should beat this team. You should crush this team. So let's make sure that they do that. Run it with Dalvin. Make sure you're running it right past him. Maybe throw in some Alexander Madison. We haven't seen much from him, too. So let's get some Alexander Madison rolling, too. And let's just destroy this team. Let's just go out there and just destroy them. And let's kill them. Let's just boom, boom, boom. Beat up some Jaguars, right? All right, so moving on. Love the content, Paulie V.
Thanks, Big Sigs. Appreciate you.
And then we got Seymour. Nobody was stressed watching football on the TV this week than Nick Saban. Yes, I did see that, Seymour. So true. So, obviously, I think we're all picking the Vikings to win. I think we can all agree on that.
We can.
So, Mikey, I don't know when we'll have you on next, but I got to ask you, do you think right now, based on what you see, that the Vikings are a playoff team? What do you think?
I think they are. I think they can be a playoff team. We have to win out, or we could even drop a game depending on what the likes of like Arizona do, or any of the other wild card teams. But they've been improving every week, and if the improvement keeps steadily climbing like it has, I feel like we can be a playoff team. We might not go far in the playoffs this year, but we could sneak in and get into the playoffs with the new at 7th or even a 6th seed. But yeah, I think we can be a playoff team. We just got to keep improving.
They got to keep improving. We got to see what happens, and we're going to be talking about it. And when next we have you on, it could be a different story. They could be out of it and working towards next year, which I believe that might be the case. And I think the big emphasis will be on defense and maybe some O-line help too. More weapons. I mean, what are you going to do with a lot of these contracts? Daniil will be coming back. Barr will be coming back. So we'll have to see what happens, but I think we're all picking the Vikings to win on Sunday. Because if you don't, and the thing is, it's pretty ballsy if you're picking the Jaguars. But, and if it pays off, great. But, I mean, knock on wood, I think the Vikings are going to take care of business. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, Mikey, thanks for coming on. And one other thing, too, I forgot to mention. The NFC East. They've been pretty bad lately, haven't they? Are you still calling for the abolishment of the NFC East?
I'm still calling for it. The leader is 4-7 in that division.
Let's go.
We could honestly have a team finish 6-10 and get into the playoffs and not get into the playoffs. They could host a playoff game. That is absolutely absurd to me. It should not happen. If this happens, if someone goes 6-10, I am pleading the NFL to make a clause. If you are not over 500, you're just out. Someone else jump in. You just can't. You just can't be in the playoffs.
We're gonna save that footage, but one thing I want to say too is that Ryan Clark said this on, I think, ESPN. They all suck. He said pretty much they all suck. The NFC East. I mean, that's just it's that simple. So, but I just wanted to let you get your spiel on that, Mikey. But anyway, we appreciate you coming on again, and we're probably gonna have you on here again soon for more Vikings talk. So. Thanks a lot for coming on, Mikey.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Mikey. Appreciate you, bud.
Yeah. See you guys.
We'll catch you later. All right, now we got to move on to Callahan's School of Logic this week. There's been a lot of talk about COVID. There's been COVID outbreaks in the NFL, from the Ravens to the Broncos. We got to get to it, so we got to get to Callahan's School of Logic. I got a lot on my mind about that, so let's get it rolling with some Callahan's School of Logic.
Class is in session. You're enrolled in Callahan's School of Logic.
All right, Shield, it's time for Callahan's School of Logic. We've got a lot to get to because there's so much that that's been going on regarding the coronavirus with the NFL, and the victims so far from this past week are the Ravens and obviously the Broncos. Okay, and it's really simple, folks. It really is simple, because there's all these reports coming out about people not adhering to the protocols. And, the strength and conditioning coach for the Baltimore Ravens is one thing. And he was not reporting his symptoms. He was not consistently wearing a mask. He seems to be the reason that the breakout happened. And the thing is, if you're the strength and conditioning coach, don't you think that you should be wearing a mask when you're working with these guys, right? Now, I will say that some of this, I'm not saying like you can just say, you can take all the precautions you can and, you won't get the virus. Because sometimes you can do all the precautions that you want to do and you still get the virus. And that just happens, okay? And I understand that. But it has been proven, if you do wear a mask, it will help not only your teammates, but your family and things like that, okay? Now, this is the whole issue with the coronavirus. You can't just fully say, if I wear a mask, I'm good, I'm fine. No, that's not how this works, right? Because we don't know a lot about this. And Seymour's saying it, right here. The protocols are simple, but the disease is far from something simple. And he's exactly right. And that's what I'm saying. Is it's simple to wear a mask. It's simple to social distance. But that will help you in the long run, and not only help you, but your teammates, your families, and everything like that. It's about slowing the spread of the virus. But the Ravens had to screw it up because one guy, or maybe even a couple more guys, I don't know what the deal was with Ingram or J.K. Dobbins and, even Lamar Jackson, but just wear a mask. Do everything in your power to make sure that you don't spread it. Even might not have any symptoms. It's so complex, this whole virus. It's not simple, like Seymour's been saying. Don't get lazy. Just don't get lazy with this, because once we start getting lazy, then outbreaks happen. And then not only did they have to push back the game from Thanksgiving, they tried Sunday, more positive tests come out. They tried Tuesday, more positive tests come out, and then they're playing on a Wednesday. Okay, and then they're without Jackson, they're without Ingram, they're without J.K. Dobbins, they're without Mark Andrews. Guys like that, okay? And masks don't prevent COVID. They significantly reduce the chances of getting COVID. That's what I'm saying. Just don't do the right thing and just wear a mask. It's not that. Honestly, it sucks. But just wear one. It's been proven. Just wear something that's comfortable so you're not giving all this transmission to people, okay? Another thing here from Ethan. If you wear a mask and nobody else does, it cuts transmission likelihood by only 5%. If you and everyone else wears one, it cuts transmission chance by 95%. And that's the thing, is the Ravens just completely don't understand that fact. apparently they didn't care enough to do it. And they're like, before the season, they're like, we'll do the greatest job and everything like that. Well, you didn't. You had over, what was it, 20, I think, Voldy, not including players and staff. I mean,
yeah.
Clearly your protocols or whatever you're doing won't work. And I will say right now, they deserve to be punished. They deserve to have draft picks taken away and everything like that. You keep the same energy that you did to the Raiders and the Aints, okay? And I'm not surprised about the Aints because, it is the Aints and it's Sean Payton. But still, I mean, just to throw that out there. But here's what Mets has to say here. You can't expect NFL players to follow protocols if everyday citizens don't try to stop the spread. Exactly. But you still have to implement that. And these teams keep forgetting that you can lose draft picks. You can get fined. Things like that. Yep. Maybe even forfeit a game. I'm sure they were kind of thinking about that. And then here's Seymour. I'm very glad the Titans were the first team to deal with this and get a pass. LOL. Well, the thing is like, you can't be doing this. Just wear a mask, social distance, do what you need to do. The next one I want to bring up here too, Voldy, is the Denver Broncos. Okay, their quarterback, I mean, Drew Lock, Blake Bortles. And, it doesn't surprise me with Bortles because it's Bortles. But, I mean, Ripon. I can't even remember.
Rippin.
I don't even. Rippin.
Can't forget about Jeff Driscoll, too.
Jeff Driscoll as well. They didn't wear a mask. They're doing their drills and everything. They decided not to wear a mask. And then Drew Luck's like, I'm sorry. And then his mom goes off about it. Like, you leave him alone. It's everything. Just wear a freaking mask. Just wear a mask. That's all you have to do. Social distance. Everything that you need to not have the transmission of this terrible disease with COVID. I mean, the only way we're going to get by this is everyone, adheres to the rules. But there are just some people that don't want to do that. Okay? But I want to stick it to sports here and whatnot because I firmly believe that if they keep doing the Broncos, and I believe Vic Fangio is going to be, dishing out discipline for these guys. And he should. They should. The Broncos should. John Elway should. I mean, the one guy that you have to give a lot of credit to right now, though, Voldy, is the emergency quarterback, Kendall Hinton. Okay? You have to make sure that, they didn't have a backup plan because all the quarterbacks were out. And you throw in a guy that hasn't played. He was converted to wide receiver, and he's thrown to the Wolves against the Aints, one of the best teams in the NFC. I mean, good Lord, how bad is that? So it's the logic in this is that there's been coronavirus spikes everywhere. You'd think that some of these teams would be taking more precautions and things like that, but some teams just don't listen to that, and some players don't want to listen as well. As Ethan's saying right here, it's a mask. It's not like they are asking you to wear a Blackhawks jersey. You got to have some fun with it, right? And
exactly. That's
true. We don't like the Blackhawks. So next week, does Michigan burn Ohio State's chances of making the Big Ten championship by canceling the game due to COVID concerns?
That's the only way Michigan ever beats Ohio State with Harbaugh still as head coach, just to stick it to them. Absolutely.
Right, and obviously a lot of these teams, and John Gruden's gotten in trouble for this Corona stuff, man, and he almost lost his whole offensive line. So we got to talk to Johnny about that as well. So the logic in all of this, zoners, and I've been talking about this a lot. We know there's a vaccine coming up, okay, but we can't just batten down the hatch. Well, we don't have to worry about it. A vaccine's coming, no problem. No. We have to adhere to the rules until this. I don't even know when this is going to pass. And honestly, I don't think anybody does. Anybody knows. But it's like vaccines. Well, we can lighten up, right? No, you can't. Because we got to get it to the people that need it first, right? That desperately need it. That are in the hospitals, in the ICUs and everything like that. Okay? Now, if you don't want. For NFL, you guys signed up for this. It's not about just like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask. Don't get lazy. Do what you need to do to make sure that this disease doesn't spread to your teammates, even your families. I mean, for gosh sakes, I applaud the Vikings with I believe Adam Thielen tested negative, and then he tested positive, and then he said, I mean, it was a weird deal, but they needed to take precautions. So the logic in all this, Voldy, is that do the smart thing. Don't do the dumb thing. Don't make this about me. It's about we, right? It's about we together, making sure that this thing doesn't keep passing around. So one of my sources is saying they are getting a vaccine trials at the hospital. They work at sometime in the next 2 weeks. Okay, well, that's good. And the thing is this isn't, once you have a vaccine, it's like, it's gone. Everything, no, we got to keep doing what we need to do and you save more lives and whatnot. So, Voldy, your thoughts?
It is what it is. Obviously, the fact that the game with Baltimore and Pittsburgh got moved back because of the fact of so many players testing positive and wanting to stop as much spread as possible didn't play out to the favor. Look, overall, this entire thing is just bad no matter what.
Yeah,
guys are getting positive for COVID-19. Other guys are going to have to step up. Denver lost all their quarterbacks in one foul swoop. They had to bring in a wide receiver to play quarterback against the Saints. It's not good. It's just horrible to see the fact, of course, other guys' lives are, livelihoods are on the line if a guy gets hurt, a play doesn't work this certain way because somebody doesn't know where they end up being, somebody ends up getting injured, their career's over. On top of it all, there's a global pandemic that's not getting any better each and every day. All these teams that have had to deal with the fact of, you would think in this day and age, especially with everything that's gone on in the last year because of, everything that's been going on, that they would want to be the role models and show up and do the most little of all things, and wearing a mask, social distancing, washing your hands as well. And obviously those are the big three right there to make the big difference as well.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the cure-all. It's not going to be the be-all, end-all. It's going to help. Obviously, at this point, we're all looking at what's on the horizon, but let's just focus on what we've got to do right now. And it doesn't seem like anything's improving, but obviously in the long run, a lot of other things are to come out on the positive end. We're all going to be better human beings because of it. We just got to continue to do the little things, but obviously with everything that's going on, luckily enough, Pittsburgh came out with a win. We got to see RG3 play for the first time in years. Got to see the future of Baltimore as well, with a little Trace McSorley at the end of it as well. But, Pittsburgh's 11-0 now. We got to see the most unique situation in the last 100 years of NFL football, with a wide receiver completing just one pass on 9 attempts. That was awesome and horrible all at the same time to see. But 2020's been a hell of a year. That's my kind of thoughts on everything.
Right, and I think we can just all. It's a small detail. It's a small detail. Wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands. It's not hard, people. It's not rocket science. Come on, Drew Lock, you're better than that. And, and we got to see Mr. Product of the System for one thing, too. Voldy, that's another Sports Zone thing from Voldy, Mr. Product of the System. And last thoughts on this, then we can move on to ARA. We knew this was coming. Fauci and other doctors were saying that this winter was going to be far worse than the spring. And it's true. Yep. They warned us, and, some people just don't want to listen. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Just do the small details and, go from there, people. So, anyway, Voldy, on a lighter note, let's move on to our favorite segment, because there's a lot that we need to get through, because, we got some good ones this week, as always, for every week as well. So, it's time for Absurd or Approve.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
So anyway, it's time for Absurd or Approved. We got a lot to get through, so Voldy, why don't you rattle it off for us, please?
Well, it just got a whole lot easier for the Minnesota Twins in one respect, at least getting guys called up from the minor leagues. It was announced earlier this week, as of yesterday, that the Minnesota Twins have named their new AAA affiliate, that being the St. Paul Saints. It was announced earlier this year that the Twins and the Rochester Red Wings had parted ways because of the fact, of course, Rochester, New York is nowhere close to Twins territory with the likes of, being the AAA team for your Minnesota Twins. Now they just make a nice little trek across town over towards St. Paul. And right there, CHS Field going to be the home for the AAA farm team for the Minnesota Twins, that being St. Paul Saints. And also the AA team is actually moving a little bit closer as well. They're actually going to Wichita. The Wind Scourge, I believe they are called, or the Wind Surge, something like that. The Wind Surge, $75 million stadium they just got recently down in Wichita as well. Now the AA affiliate for the Twins. Previously, they had been the AAA affiliate for the Florida Marlins in years past. But this is a nice little step up for the Twins. Absurd or Approved, the new farm teams for the old ball club and the Twins.
Well, for one, it's got my stamp of approval because why the heck not, the St. Paul Saints, I mean, those games are so much fun. And obviously, it's been rumored and, teams leaving, the Red Wings and everything like that. It just makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. CHS Field's a great place. I think this is a great deal. And this is something the poll ads, again, didn't screw up. Applause for, the poll ads for doing that. But, it's just for them to get all the guys, all the young guys, and bring them up and have them do well and whatnot. But, again, not go out and pay for people. But anyway, the Saints, and again, this is the St. Paul Saints, not the New Orleans Aints, right? We know the difference. But this is great. CHS Field, it makes sense. And, it's going to get... it's going to be a lot of fun, too. A lot of the zoners were talking about this once this was announced. And there's been rumors, and Voldy, I think you even talked about this last week, too, that the possibility. And look, boom, there it happens. Yeah, so it's got my stamp of approval. And then I did not know about the Wind Surge, okay? I got to see what kind of jerseys they're working with, because I think, Voldy, you might be interested in getting something like that. So.
Oh, definitely.
RG3 plays and pulls his hamstrings. Yeah, that sounds about right. Fans are able to get know many players before they get to the Twins. This way, exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think it's got everyone's stamp of approval. So Voldy, I assume it has yours as well.
Yeah, especially the fact this past year with the taxi squad being at CHS Field, well, this was really all, the kind of sealing the deal for the Twins and the Saints to make this, officially happen as well. Because of the fact, obviously, you want to get a guy from, the minor league team up to the big ball club. Then maybe you're in the middle of a homestand or whatever. And, instead of, getting them on a red-eye flight and they show up a couple hours before first pitch, well, you're going to call up a guy that's middle of the afternoon at a 7:05 first pitch. Yeah, give me 25 minutes. I'll be across town and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Makes it 1,000 times easier as well. Guys can go down for rehab assignments instead of going, cross country. They just go cross town to make things a lot better. Now you can even see, like Seymour was bringing up, a lot of the youth and also some of these guys that we've been waiting and hoping to see, Royce Lewis, Nick Gordon as well, Alex Kirilloff, and some of those other guys that are going to be, hopefully make a name for themselves in the next couple of years for the Twins. Well, they're not even that far away. Maybe if the schedule works out, Twins have a day game, Saints play a night game. Works out perfectly in the long run. And, and another thing, it's got my stamp of approval, by the way. I've been going around this ever since this first came into my head about how logistically this all works now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guys that were on the Rochester Red Wings, they were under control of the Minnesota Twins because they signed contracts. So now, obviously, they're going to be with the St. Paul Saints. Now, what about the guys that were with the St. Paul Saints this past year Independent American Association. So are those guys just out of contracts now? Are they going to get bought off? Are they going to go to a different team? Are they now a part of the Minnesota Twins organization? Obviously the fact you got guys that maybe played a cup of coffee with, a major league team 6-7 years ago, guys maybe that were 3-4 years out of college still trying to be competitive and play professional baseball. This is the stuff that I come up with at, 2:00 in the afternoon. I've had, I haven't had my third round of caffeine in the day. It's like, I wonder how this all works. That's my question, and I'm hoping one of our listeners, one of the zoners, can at least fill in the gap. How does that all work if the current St. Paul Saints guys are just, cast off now? But obviously this has got my big stamp of approval. I love to see this, and I'm definitely going to have to try and take in a couple Saints games if they're allowed this year.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And then another thing too. I mean, you said it. The cross promotional stuff's just going to be fantastic because
absolutely,
not only do the Saints do a good job, the Twins do a fairly good job as well. I can't say much for the owners, but that's just me. But anyway, moving on from that fact, it's got my stamp of approval. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun, and let's go Saints. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we kind of touched on this a little bit with Callahan's School of Logic, but obviously this is something that was brought up throughout over the weekend in an emergency situation with all available quarterbacks for the Denver Broncos going down with COVID-19. Denver was scrambling to try and find somebody. They even tried to bring in one of their assistant coaches to play quarterback, but it went to the likes of wide receiver Kendall Hinton, who did play quarterback in college, hadn't taken a snap since his junior year of college. I think he played at Wake Forest, I believe it was. ACC school, not that bad. Finishes the game passing 1 for 9, 13 yards in a 31-3 loss to the New Orleans Saints at home, as the Broncos are now 4-7 on the year. Absurd or approve Kendall Hinton's performance, giving less than 24 hours notice to become an NFL starting quarterback.
The guy, I mean, honestly, Kendall Hinton did what he could. Within 24 hours, you're going to start against the New Orleans Saints, and literally one of the best teams in the NFC. It's interesting to me why, he did what he could. And they are trying to craft plays, a day, 2 days before the game. And he threw 2 picks, yeah. I mean, his performance wasn't great. And obviously, he completed a pass for 13 yards, I think, to Noah Fant or something like that. I give him a lot of credit for going in there and saying, it's been crazy. And going out there and, giving it his all. And I really believe that he did. It's just like, well, we're going to hand off the ball a lot and whatnot. And that's unfair. And I said it at Callahan's School of Logic. It doesn't make sense why those guys just couldn't wear a mask and everything like that. But you got to give Kendall Hinton a lot of credit for going out there and trying to do his best. I mean, the performance, obviously it wasn't good. I don't want to say it's absurd because, the poor guy, hey, you're going to start for us at quarterback, here you go. But, they tried everything in their power to figure out a way to get this rolling. But, it's definitely something to look at and say, hey, all you got to do is wear a mask. And those guys didn't want to do it. And Kendall Hinton, he did play quarterback in college, but he hasn't played that much, I want to get to some of the zoners here because we got some people talking about with the Saints and whatnot. Kendall Hinton struggling even little QB experience shows people just how difficult it is exactly to play quarterback in the NFL. Very difficult. And for him to actually complete a pass is something, and 13 yards isn't bad, okay? And then we have, it's just like an emergency goaltender. Just hope he keeps the team in the game. Exactly. And If it was against the Jaguars, he probably would have gotten more, but, that's just me. But I want to get back to the Saints here because this one I think is hilarious. Voldy, it means I have a shot at the show, as Tyler Knutson is saying right now.
Absolutely.
And then Ethan is saying if they're under contract, then unless there is a clause, they are still part of the organization. That said, there may be a blanket clause in many of the contracts to allow a buyout if the status or league of the team changes. So that's something to make note of too. It's we'll see what happens with that. But getting back to Hinton here, he didn't learn the offense from the standpoint of a QB. So let's compare apples to apples. He went in there as cold as anyone could be, exactly. And it's something to where you're thrown to the wolves. And the thing is everyone wasn't expecting much anyway, too. So I give him my stamp of approval from going in there and giving it his best shot. And like Seymour said, it's not easy being an NFL quarterback. So
what is that?
Voldy, what do you think?
I think given, ready in 24 hours and the fact that he completed a pass at all, hats off to Kendall Hinton. Just because of the fact hadn't even looked in the area of being an NFL quarterback. And like Seymour did say, one of the hardest positions that you can play, not only in football, but also in all of sport as well. So many different things running through the minds of quarterbacks. Of course, the fact of making sure your guys are lined up right, learning the play calls, learning, how to check out of a play, learning how to read defenses, learning how to think on the fly. Maybe you got to come up with a different play. Look for a guy downfield. Oh, wait, here comes a 295-pound lineman coming at me that wants to rip my head off. Oh, yeah, now I have to throw the football all at the same time. But I got to give hats off to the Kendall Hinton because of the fact, like Ethan said, learning from the standpoint of a quarterback, it's not that easy. Went in as cold as possible. 31-3, just be happy to got any points or at least got even in relatively close enough range to even attempt a field goal.
Yeah.
1 of 9, 13 yards, 2 interceptions. Could have been a whole lot worse. He could have gone 0 for 20 with 4 interceptions, 17 fumbles, and it just would have been a field day. But, obviously, given the situation that was, I'm giving my stamp of approval to Kendall Hinton.
Exactly. Here's what Ethan's saying. This is very good, by the way. Hey, Zamboni driver, we realize you haven't actually played goalie since college, but get in there and play for us. Oh, by the way, we're playing the Oilers tonight. That's kind of how it was. Is like with Kendall Hinton. You're like, oh, by the way, we want you to start and against the Aints. What?
You'd be surprised how often that happens in hockey. It's usually at least once or twice a year, the emergency goaltender situation. It's usually like the goaltending coach or, he's a rink guy that plays, beer league every Wednesday night with him and his buddies. That was a D3 college goalie, and he's still got his gear in his car. Hey, suit up. We need you for warm-ups or whatever. Just sit there. But yeah, that usually happens all the time.
Yeah, and it is what it is. And honestly, I'm kind of peeved because it gave the Aints a free win, so that's kind of ticks me off. But either way, props to Kendall Hinton. I mean, 24 hours. Hey, you're starting QB. Interesting as it is, but poor guy. Anyway, moving on. Next one, Voldy.
Well, we had to squeeze in the New England Patriots at some point here with Absurd or Approved this week. Cam Newton was not very good this past week, but a victory over the Arizona Cardinals after a couple of bad weeks for New England, squeezing out a 20-17 comeback victory as well. Let's not forget about that part, a comeback victory. Cam Newton, 9 of 18, 84 yards, 2 interceptions, 23.6 passer rating, rushed 9 times for 46 yards. But he was all smiles. And when even asked as well about his subpar performance, he's not going to say, quote, I'm not going to apologize for winning. Absurd or Approved, Cam Newton's confidence, even though he is stinking it up with New England.
Well, the thing is it could catch up to him. And I think we have to realize that, but a win's a win, right? I mean, we're talking about this with the Vikings, and it's from the standpoint of knowing that if you win the game, that's all that matters, right? If you win the game, but it can catch up to you, is what I'm saying. So Cam has to be wary of that, because if you have a bad game, and defense is doing all they can, the run game and things like that, you have to play better regardless. And I think that's one thing. But if Cam keeps stinking it up, maybe Belichick might not have a choice. But we'll have to see. You don't want to play the Patriots in Foxborough these days. Well, yeah, that's a good point, too. The Cardinals, I'm just glad they beat the Cardinals because, the Vikings could sneak in there. You never know. But obviously, we're seeing how that goes. Can't expect Cam MVP numbers when he's making just over $1 million a year. That's a good point. That's a good point by Mets. Yes and no, too. Yeah,
well, you would feel like after an injury-plagued previous season that he want to go out and be like, all right, you're going to pay me $1 million. Well, right. I'm going to show you that the rest of the league, all those other teams that didn't sign me are going to be upset because I'm going to go out here and hurt some people's feelings. But obviously, I guess that's not the mindset he's going with this year.
Right, and again, I think the lack of weapons, too. Wide receiving core is just kind of too. But again, Cam's made some bad passes. I think we can both agree on that. So the thing is Cam, don't get too comfortable with that stat line, though. If you're starting to play bad, you can be yanked very quickly. And again, your coach is Bill Belichick. So be very wary, Cam. You still get the win. That's all that matters at the end of the day, but you got to play better. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Obviously, the numbers don't speak for themselves. I feel like he was trying to do a little too much is the problem. Yeah. And I feel like he's trying to rely on what he was the first couple years in the league. Obviously, it's not working out too well. As long as the Patriots keep winning, obviously he's going to keep up that confidence. But, when you get a win over Arizona when you're down, 10-0, 17-0 at one point and come back and eventually come up with the win as well, that's going to feel good. But you even mentioned it, too, with the lack of weapons. Julian Edelman's been out with the knee all year. They did just get back Sony Michel, but they also lost Rex Burkhead in that game, and it looks like his year is finished as well. Damian Harris has been a really nice pickup in the running game for them this year. James White's out there performing as much as he can. N'Keal Harry's been bumped around a lot this year for the Patriots, but when he's on there, he's slowly progressing. They have no tight ends to work with and a bunch of, no-name receivers. Demir Bird, he played with Cam for a few years down in Carolina. That certainly helps in the continuity area, but like you had said, even Jacoby Myers is another guy that's contributed for the Patriots in the receiving game. But obviously with the lack of receivers and a lot of lack of experienced receivers and a running game that's got more bumps than actual production, it kind of hurts the ability for Cam to try and do it. And obviously at that point as well, the numbers are going to be affected. His confidence overall, at least he's got the confidence to keep saying, we're winning. Yeah. That's what matters. And sure, I stink, but, we're out here and we're just trying to win is the thing. It's got my stamp of approval.
Yeah, it's got my stamp of approval as well. We just got an update on Jalen Suggs. He's back in he's back in the game, and that's really good news. Might have had Paul Pierce syndrome. Paul Pierce.
It's all mental, man. It's all mental.
Yeah. Patriots have a lot of draft picks this year. That's true. Bill.
They'll find a way to get out.
He's got a master plan. Yeah, he's got a master plan. So we all are very wary of what the Emperor Bill Belichick wants to get done for the Patriots. So we'll see what happens. All right, next one, Voldy.
Yeah, this one we go back to Major League Baseball here. Major League Baseball did announce the creation of a minor league for top eligible prospects coming up for the summer draft. Of course, a lot of opportunities kind of taken away from some of these top players and prospects that are looking to showcase their ability because of the fact of COVID-19, and also a significant drop in minor league baseball teams from last season, even going into this year as well. This Woodbat League, it'll be the MLB Draft League, is launching 5 teams, could add a possible 6th team as well, playing 68 regular season games, including an all-star break that would coincide with the draft in early July. This is something that was kind of brought up. I think we talked about with Major League Baseball kind of moving up the All-Star break in the draft as well. They all kind of coincide from kind of a bubble area. They did move from 160 minor league teams to 120 this past offseason as well. But this, and also, unfortunately as well, they did lose the Pioneer League, which was an 8-team partner league as well. But this also serves as an opportunity for some of these young players coming in to, showcase their ability. Absurd or approved, Major League Baseball making an effort for the next crop of talented players.
Well, one thing that I want to bring up too with this whole thing is that their Morgan Sword, their MLB's vice president of baseball economics and operations, calls this a one-of-a-kind league that will allow fans to see top prospects and future big league stars in their hometown, and preserving and growing baseball communities around the United States. It sounds like, I believe they're spread out, and I think Tyler's been asked. A little bit. Okay, so just
right around the Mason-Dixon line.
Okay, so it's definitely something to where you're playing, these top prospects, and maybe it's going to give you like Morgan Sword was saying, is that it's a one-of-a-kind league, and if they're able to pull this off, which I think they definitely can. Gives opportunities to see them, the best of the best, play against the best of the best, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, post COVID and whatnot. But I hope it's successful. I hope these guys get an opportunity to go out there and showcase their skills, and I think it's something to keep an eye out for, and it gives more added things to watch for MLB too. I think what they're trying to do is get people more involved with baseball and getting people interested, and I think you can't fault the MLB for that, trying to get that going. So it's got my stamp of approval. So Voldy, what do you think?
I kind of hearken this a little bit to what the Cape Cod League is like for summer baseball for top, players from across the country, mostly college kids, and looking to get drafted in the draft as well. But you take Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and New Jersey. That's where these teams are all going to be centered around as well to play in this draft league. I think it's a win-win opportunity. High school kids and even college kids as well, looking to make names for themselves, and why not do it with this opportunity because of the fact of the reduction and possibly even other leagues being shut down because of possibly COVID-19. But this is just serving as another opportunity to for Major League Baseball to think on its feet and create these chances as well. I mean, it certainly got my stamp of approval.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and it seems like they're going to be, like you said, somewhat spread out and whatnot, so it's going to be interesting, and I think, people will definitely kind of take an interest in it, so hopefully they can pull it off the right way. So, but we all know that the MLB kind of has a tendency to make some dumb decisions, as you said here on this show before, so, but I think this is one of them to where they're going to be able to pull this one off, so we'll see what happens. All right, last one, Voldy.
Yep, well, the NBA did announce that its preseason schedule will be played December 11th through the 19th. That's right. We are under 10 days. We're at 9 days away from the start of the NBA preseason. And with the schedule release, there are some good, interesting preseason matchups not too far removed from the bubble. Interesting games of note to kick off the preseason as well. Looks like Dallas going to Milwaukee, at least to take on Milwaukee on December 12th. Luka Doncic and, the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo as well. That's a great name to try and pronounce 5 times fast as well. You see like the likes of the Washington Wizards. Looks like now, Russell Westbrook's Washington Wizards against Kevin Durant on the 13th. Doc Rivers making his first appearance for Philadelphia against the Boston Celtics, another team he coached for on the 15th. And you also get the likes of the debut of the Tampa Raptors. That's right, not Toronto this year. The Tampa Raptors, their temporary home for the season against the Miami Heat on December 18th. And you got the Nets traveling to Boston to take on the Celtics on the 18th as well. And, of course, the 72-game schedule, I believe, has been announced. And, there are a couple of interesting Christmas opening day games as well. But, we'll probably get to that next week with Absurd or Approved. Preseason-wise, absurd or approved, first few games of the preseason schedule for the NBA.
Let me ask you this. How excited are you about the NBA?
Sure. I'm excited for the fact that Toronto's going to be playing in Tampa. I think that provides a nice little avenue for them, I guess.
Sure. I mean, the matchups are good. The Heat coming off a really good, season and whatnot. I admit it because, I get it with the Jimmy Buckets thing. I'm still not a fan. But still, I mean, it's got my stamp of approval. Basketball's going to be back. And I'm very interested to see what the Wolves do this year. I get it. It's the Wolves. I get that. But honestly, it's very intriguing to me because not only you got D'Lo, you got Cat, you have Ricky Rubio. But no, Ricky Rubio and, Anthony Edwards, the number 1 overall pick playing. So we'll see how this goes with the pups and everything like that. I'm really hoping that, they can get rolling. So they didn't have a choice. The Canadian border is closed. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So, it's kind of how it has to happen with, the Raptors. So, but anyway, I mean, for the preseason to get going and have every team play and whatnot, Adam Silver knows what he's doing. And I've been a big fan of Adam Silver. He's done a great job as a commissioner. And, I think it's going to be interesting to see a lot of these, teams go at it. And, Golden State, what are they going to be like, without Klay Thompson and players like that. And then obviously with the big Russell Westbrook trade now to the Wizards, John Wall going to the Rockets. I mean, it's crazy. And don't be surprised if Harden's on the move as well. So we got to keep our eyes on that. Is LeBron going to get his 5th here, coming up? So that's something to make note of as well. And then, obviously then we're getting all these GOAT talks and whatnot. But anyway, aside from that, it's got my stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's basketball. That's cool, I guess. Preseason, cool. The fact that it's going to be starting here in a little over a week, I guess that's also cool. I'm just more excited to see how, the fact that Toronto ends up playing in Tampa. Maybe this will be a nice change of pace. Obviously, the fact with the Toronto Blue Jays this past year playing in Buffalo, that was different, but it was also really cool at the same time, making the best out of the worst. And, obviously, I guess it's got my stamp of approval.
That's fair enough because I didn't expect too much, but again, obviously it's good to have another avenue to watch sports and whatnot. And, obviously we're going to see what the NHL, obviously, do we even know if they have a plan yet, Voldy, or what?
As far as I know, I haven't seen a whole lot of talks. Probably Ethan is probably the best person to talk to on that right now. I keep saying February 1st is a go date, but, no news. In this case, no news is not good news because it's definitely not after January 1st. So it's not before January 1st, I should say, or on January 1st. So, it's just wait and see, I guess. But be creeping up sooner than we think.
Yeah, exactly. And then we got other people asking questions here or statements. It doesn't help the Wolves, then help the Wolves when our shooting guard is caught with Scottie Pippen's wife. Hey, whatever you do in your personal business, Malik Beasley, that's all you. But the thing is, man, you don't want unwanted attention. Hockey is the bigger question. Relocating hockey teams out of Canada, sacrilege. Yeah.
Plenty of rinks in America. Just saying.
Ethan says Bettman has a temp date of January 1st, but admitted it's a moving target. There you go.
Yeah.
There's your answer. So we'll see what happens. But I want to see some NHL going. So anyway, speaking of NHL, Voldy, we got to get to Shield Shoutouts because I believe, your jersey right there, I believe that has something to do with Shield Shoutouts. So I think we should get rolling with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who are you shouting out tonight?
Well, of course, we did talk about it right before Shield shoutouts. I got this brand new spiffy Vegas Golden Knights jersey. I want to give a big Shield shout out to creative consultant Mrs. Sarah Ann Tewsvold for buying me this Vegas Golden Knights jersey. Still trying to figure out who I want to put on the back of it. My leading candidate, William Karlsson, Wild Bill Karlsson, is the leading guy right now. I was thinking maybe a personalized jersey, maybe my own name and number on the back. We'll keep everybody posted on that. We're definitely going to have to looking at one of those reverse retro Vegas jerseys with the red on the back. That'd be fantastic.
Joe Bag of Donuts. I'm sticking by it, Voldy. But anyway, continue.
With a big zero on the back.
Exactly. Exactly. It makes sense, Voldy. It makes sense.
No, it does.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Another Shield shout out, a guy we've been talking about since the very top of the show, Vikings wide receiver Chad Beebe on his first NFL touchdown this past Sunday, 28-27 win over the Carolina Panthers, coming up big in that fourth quarter with that touchdown. After the buff punt, redeems himself in my mind and gets the Vikings a win as well. Big Shield shout out goes out to Chad Beebe on his first NFL touchdown. We head to college football for our next Shield shout-out. We send one out to Vanderbilt soccer player turned football place kicker Sarah Fuller this past week. We made history on Saturday by becoming the first female to play in a Power 5 conference football game with the Vanderbilt Commodores. But unfortunately, with a second-half kickoff that she conducted, was a 41-0 loss for Vanderbilt against Missouri, but still history made in a significant moment as well for the first female to play in a Power 5 conference game as well for Vanderbilt. So a big Shield shout out to Sarah Fuller for her accomplishment. Do have to also send a Shield shout out to Denver Broncos wide receiver turned emergency quarterback Kendall Hinton, who filled in at starting quarterback less than 24 hours against the New Orleans Saints, finishing 1 for 9, 13 yards, 2 interceptions, but made the best out of what he had, and in my mind, worthy situation as well. Made do with what he had, and unfortunately wasn't a win for the Broncos, but still a valiant effort for Kendall Hinton, so he gets himself a Shield shout out this week. And unfortunately, we have to end. Actually, no, we don't have to end it this week, but we do have a unfortunate Shield shout out. Rest in peace to hockey groundbreaker Fred Sasakamoose. One of the first Canadian Indigenous players in the National Hockey League, passed away this week due to, unfortunately, COVID-19 on November 24th. Played in just 11 games in the NHL career, but spanning over a 7-year career where he spent most of his time in the minors. Played 11 games, for the Chicago Blackhawks in 1953. While his career did finish after that time in the NHL, it did serve as an advocate for Canadian Indigenous peoples, for Native youth to participate in sports. So rest in peace to legendary hockey groundbreaker Fred Sasakamoose of Canada for the Canadian Indigenous players. I do have one more Shield shout out that came in just before the show did start. I have to send a special Shield shout out to Mama V, Jane Bow, sending a nice care package of holiday sweets as well. Some bold staples in the holiday treat diet that is for this wonderful time of year. Sent over some pretzel hugs, some candy turkey legs, and also secret family recipe orange cookies as well. We are going to be plumb full of all the holiday goodies here. So big Shield shout out to Mama V, Jane Bow for sending over the holiday treats. They will definitely not be eaten. That's going to do it for Shield shout outs this week.
There we go. And again, you're just getting all the goodies. And I'm sure Mama Callahan will be sending some stuff at some point as well. And I'm sure you've done your Christmas shopping and whatnot. And obviously, all the Shield shout-outs were fantastic. And definitely, Fred Sasakamoose, I mean, that's one heck of a last name. I mean, for one. But, it's really sad, COVID and whatnot, too, But anyway, great job with Shield shout-outs. Voldy,
sure.
we got to get to a couple things here, too, because, again, Q&A Thursdays. We'll get it started up again tomorrow. Make sure you check out the Instas and make sure that you're asking questions because, you could just ask us anything that you guys want and whatnot. So we got a lot going on with that. And then also, too, we have shirts. I mean, do you guys want shirts? I mean, if you don't have one, you should get one, right? $20. Okay, $20, $5 shipping. Talk to me, talk to Voldy, talk to Jimbo, talk to the Kerf Doctor. We'll get you set up. We got it all on Venmo, PayPal, whatever you need, carrier pigeon, whatever. Just make sure you get your shirts. And obviously, if you haven't got them yet, you should just get them because it helps us keep this show on air, on the Facebook's live. So let's keep it rolling with that. And then check out W2 Performance, the Barbell Nerds Podcast with Will Rattel. He has stickers now. And Voldy, not only did I buy some, you bought some, the Kerf Doctor bought some. They're only $2. I mean, you can have multiple. You can have 4. The thing is you talk to Will Rattel, he'll get you set up and get you that sticker. And they look really nice, too. So, more to add to our collection. So check out W2 Performance and the Barbell Nerds Podcast. And then also, you got to check out a certain show as well because Voldy and I just did an interview on Jack's Junkyard, Jack O'Keefe, with his show. Make sure you check it out. It's either this Saturday or next Saturday. We're still, I can't remember which day. But, hey, you know what? Make sure you check it out. We'll make sure to share it to you guys. Make sure that, you're checking his stuff out because he does a great job. It was a fun time with him. We talked a lot about, the show and everything like that, how it came about, and all the great things Jack is doing with his show on Jack's Junkyard. So props go out to Jack, and thanks for having us on too, Jack. We appreciate it. Cookie Brittle is Cookie Brittle 2 this year. Ooh, Cookie Brittle, that's good.
Looking forward to it, Ethan. Send it my way.
My birthday is August 3rd, just letting you know for my own Shield shout-out in the future.
Yeah, let me know, Knutson, when we get closer to that date. Maybe I'll throw it on there. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Jack says this Saturday at 5:30 Eastern.
There we go.
Okay, 5:30 Eastern, so obviously we got that going as well. So make sure you check us out because it was a fun interview. I think it was like 40 minutes long. He says he's got to do some editing, but we just like to talk. That's just what we do. We do. But that's just kind of how we do things, right? So make sure you check out Jack's Junkyard and everything like that. So anyway, great job today, Voldy. It was a fun show as always, and we're looking forward to episode 44. And I don't know, Will Rattel gave us an idea of doing those stickers, so maybe we can give people stickers as well for MinneZona.
Got to put a whole merch order together, man.
Oh boy,
you got to put a nice little merch site together or something, man.
Yeah, I mean the Grey Duck Vodka guy, he likes us, right?
Exactly.
The Chad Greenway, three blabbermouths on a Zoom call. Well, sorry, that's just how we are. Okay, respect.
It is what it is.
Right? It is what it is. So we appreciate that, Jack. So anyway, as always, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.